To Have and to Hold, written and produced by Rue Pullen. Man and his moods kept writers busy even before the advent of sand and quill pens. Man, the ordinary man, for his story is about life as we live it. Look for it, its smiles, its sentiments, its sorrows. The greatest fiction ever written cannot surpass the story of any man's life, his hopes, his failings, his family, his children. Such is this story of the Smiths. As our story begins, we find Sam Smith in a wheelchair in which he has been confined for 10 months. Sam is in the lounge. He watches a familiar figure peering furtively through the window. Then he calls to his wife.
Hey, Peg, where's my pipe?
On the table in the lounge room. I can't come in, Sam. I'm busy in the kitchen.
Oh, don't bother, Peg. I'll find it. Oh, in the kitchen, eh? Well, here goes. All right, John. The coast's clear. Peg's busy in the kitchen.
Sure.
Let me watch out for my own wife, will you? I'll pay the piper if she catches me.
I paid last time. I called for that 5-bob bet, and she...
I paid you later, didn't I? John, what do you think of Jumping Jack's chances in the last?
Haven't you made up your mind yet?
2 and 6 each way, Jumping Jack. Cash on the nail.
Hope you're lucky, Sam.
I feel lucky.
Sam?
I think.
So your wife's in the kitchen. Well, I'm down the street like a racehorse.
Sam, where are you?
In here, my dear, at the window.
Oh, Sam, what on earth are you doing there?
Oh, the cabbages are coming on, aren't they? Young Dan's pretty good in the garden.
Cabbages? You can't see them from this window.
Well, I can imagine what they look like, can't I? Just a minute, Peg. I'll close the window. It's a bit cold.
Isn't that John Henty leaving our gate?
John? I can't see him.
Are you sure John didn't come in here?
Now, Peg, you know.
What horse did you back?
Peg, just because you see John... hadn't you better answer it?
Horse racing isn't... Oh, the door. Must be Dr. Bride. Said he'd come at 11. Oh, Sam, I'm so scared. Sam, dear, I wasn't really nagging about horses, was I?
Nagging? No, Peg, just your usual pep talk.
I'm almost afraid to let Dr. Bride in.
Come on, Peg, we've got to find out, haven't we?
Suppose he said you wouldn't walk again. Suppose you had to stay in that wheelchair for the rest of... Oh, Sam, I've never faced such a possibility. I've always avoided it.
Peg, if you don't answer that door, we'll have to bring the doctor round again. Go on, my dear.
Yes, Sam. It will be all right, won't it?
You bet. Before you know it, I'll be out of this wheelchair and off to the races instead of... I'll be able to do the garden.
Oh, Sam. I wouldn't really mind if you went to the races every week.
That's the stuff. Keep smiling.
I'll let Dr. Bride in.
God knows, she'll need all her courage.
Good morning, Mrs. Smith.
Good morning, Dr. Bride. Sorry I kept you waiting.
That's all right. How's Sam today?
Oh, he's in here.
Hello, Doc.
Hello, Sam. I suppose you're anxious to get this over.
Not really, Doctor. I must admit I'm afraid in case the news is bad.
Now, Peg, where's that smile? Suppose we're going to the bedroom, Doc.
I will, you.
Oh, I'll finish baking in the kitchen. Call me as soon as you come out. Good luck, Sam.
Thanks, Peg. In here, Doc.
Oh, I'll open it this time. You're getting quite an expert at manipulating doors from that wheelchair, eh, Sam?
Well, it's marvelous what you can do when you try. Even managed to manipulate the GGs, too. Well?
Sam, it isn't fair. You've got to tell her.
No.
Her face, Sam, that tortured expression. I can't keep up this deception. It isn't fair to your wife, Sam. I'm a doctor.
My doctor. I've forbidden you to tell Peg the truth.
But she must know soon. You can't keep it from her.
She's happy. Why shouldn't she be happy for as long as possible? I could tell her in another month, perhaps 2.
No, Sam. You're trying to sidestep something that's inevitable. You know you'll never walk again. Sam, tell your wife.
I've tried. Doc, don't you know what it means? I'm a cripple. I'm on her hands for the rest of... I don't know what to do.
Sam, I put in a report yesterday.
Report?
Time limit's up. You're not allowed full compensation anymore.
So that's it. Soon as the paper finds out I'm finished, they stop my money. After 20 years as sports writer, they...
Sam, don't let yourself get down. Your paper's been decent to you. Now they're prepared to pay you a life pension.
Oh,
£2 a week, Sam. Oh, they didn't have to do it.
no? They didn't have to do it. Well, Doc, from now on I live on charity.
Don't talk that way. Sam, we're pretty good friends. You needn't get down. You can find a new interest. You can do...
New interest. Rubbish. Who wants a man who can't walk?
You've got to try for your wife's sake.
You won't let me be an ostrich, will you?
No, because I know you can't be one.
Maybe you're wrong.
I don't think so.
Well, with a pension of £2 a week instead of my usual salary Peg's been collecting every Friday from the paper,
She'll know on Fridays, Sam. It's up to you to tell her the truth before she...
I know. Wednesday. 2 days to go.
Sam, you knew you wouldn't walk again 2 months ago. You've had a lot of time to tell her.
Listen, Doc. After 24 years of married life, Peg's still the only girl in the world. Maybe it sounds pretty mushy. I mean, watching her be so happy. Oh, it isn't exquisite happiness, just comfortable happiness. You couldn't understand how hard it's going to be for me to tell her I'll never walk again.
You're looking at your side of it, Sam. Your wife loves you.
All right. Doc, let me do this my own way. Don't you see it? Just leave, I'll handle it.
All right, Sam. If there's anything I can do at any
Thanks,
time...
Doc, yes, I know, thanks. I'll remember all you've done for me.
I wish I could have done more, Sam. No doctor likes to see a patient remain in a wheelchair.
You've done your best, Doc. Now it's up to me.
I let myself out.
Righto. Well, you're on your own now, Sam Smith. Get out there and face your wife. And this time, tell her the truth.
Sam Smith believes Dr. Bride is the one person who shares his secret. He is wrong. Another person knows he's a cripple, his own son, Dan. We find Dan sitting in a cafe with an acquaintance, Brett Hampton. Dan's conversation with Hampton is rather subdued and mysterious.
Get to the point, Hampton.
All in good time.
Time's against me.
I've got to be sure of the men who work for me, Dan.
I'm asking you for the job. Do I get it?
Well, maybe.
Why hesitate?
I've got a reputation in this town.
I know it. Why tell me?
I like men to know me. Then they don't expect too much.
I heard you wanted a man. I need a job that pays good money.
I know what you need, Dan. My opinion that counts. You see...
All right. You're playing a sticky game and you want to be sure you get hold of men who know how to play it.
In a way. I'm not saying you turn crooked when you take my wages, but that...
Dan, can I see you a moment?
Sue, what are you doing here?
I came here with Mr. Wright. I must speak to you. It's important.
Sit down.
Nothing doing, Hampton. This is my sister.
What's she doing here?
How do I know? I'll be back.
I can wait.
What's the trouble, Sue?
Dan, you know who that man is. You know
He's
that...
Bert Hampton. What do you want?
I saw you talking to him as I came in. Everyone in town knows Hampton. He's a crook, Dan. You can't afford to be seen with him.
How about Wright, who brought you here? He's not exactly a social success.
He is a magazine editor. How do you expect me to get modeling work if
I
don't...
mind my affairs. You mind yours.
Dan, think of Mum. Dad. How would they feel if they knew you'd been seen with Hampton?
You're pretty fluffy, sis.
What do you mean?
Pretty but dumb.
Dan.
Oh, I know how you feel. Everyone knows me. Good for nothing. Wild.
You're not, Dan. Please come over to my table. Don't go back to Hampton.
I've got to get back.
Why, Dan? You're not Hampton's type. You want nothing from a man who's cheap and crooked.
You're wrong, sis. I do want something.
Dan, what are you trying to tell me?
I'm not trying to tell you anything. Except to forget you've seen me here. Don't say a word at home.
Dan, you're in trouble.
I'm not.
If you've got to go back to Hampton, you're admitting it. What hold has he over you?
All right, Sue. You asked for this. I didn't want to tell you, but the way things are going to work out, I'll have to. It's going to hurt. Hurt hard.
What news has Dan to tell his sister? And we must not forget that at home his father is faced with the problem of telling his family he'll never walk again. The Smith family appears to be faced with some big problems. We hear more of them in the next episode of To Have and to Hold, written and produced by Rue Pullen in the studios of 3AW. To Have and to Hold, written and produced by Rue Pullen. Sam Smith, confined to a wheelchair for 10 months after a car accident, has known for some time that he'll never walk again. He has shared this secret with Dr. Bride, who appeals to Sam to tell his wife, Peg, the truth. Sam hesitates until told by Dr. Bride that his paper, on which he had worked as a sports writer, has decided to pay him a life pension of £2 a week. Formerly, the paper had been making up all Sam's salary, which has been collected every Friday by Peg. Knowing Peg will realize the truth when the first pension payment is made in 2 days' time, Sam agrees to tell her he is permanently disabled. About the time Sam is bidding Dr. Bride goodbye, his son Dan is sitting in a cafe with Bret Hampton, a man of doubtful character. Dan is interrupted by the sudden appearance of his sister, Sue, who insists that she speak to Dan privately.
Dan, if you've got to go back to Hampton's table, you're admitting you're in trouble. What hold has he over you?
All right, Sue. You asked for this. I didn't want to tell you, but the way things are going to work out, I'll have to. It's going to hurt. Hurt hard.
I've never seen you like this before. What is it, Dan? Can I help?
Yes?
Oh, I'd do anything to stop you becoming friendly with that man Hampton. Everyone knows he's a crook.
That's the generally accepted rumor, Sue.
There must be some truth in it. Why, everyone who has any pride at all avoids Hampton and... Oh, I'm sorry, Dan. I didn't mean you.
It's all right, Sue. I suppose a sister has a right to say such things.
Dan, you know I wouldn't hurt you, don't you? What's the trouble?
I told you it was going to hurt you.
Yes, Dan.
Sure, chicken it.
Why?
But-
Why, Dan, you haven't called me chicken since I was in pigtails.
I'm just trying to be gentle about it. It's funny how pet names come up when... Oh, hang it, so I can't make speeches.
Dan Smith, if you can't talk to your own sister... Come on now, straight from the shoulder.
Sue, Dad's a cripple for life.
Dad's... But Dan, how do you know? Why, Dr. Bride was going to visit Dad this morning. He could hardly have time
Never
to...
mind that, Sue. I know Jim Wilson, the accountant on Dad's paper. I saw him this morning. He said how sorry he was that Dad had to stick to that wheelchair permanently.
We can help Dan. I could work hard and make more money, and you could get regular work.
That's just it, Sue. I've tried. You know how things were during the Depression. I had to leave school, no training, no opportunity. I'm a bit of a misfit.
Dan, are you asking Hampton for work because you want money now that you know about Dad?
Yes. Now, wait a minute, Sue. I'm not doing anything dishonest.
We can do it without going to Hampton.
We can't do it without money. Pension of £2 a week won't give us security.
If you won't listen to reason, I'll tell Dad about Hampton.
On top of what he's already got to bear? No, Sue. I told you I'll do nothing dishonest, and I meant it. Go on, chicken. Go back to your table and have a good time.
Aren't you going home? I mean...
I know what you mean. I feel you ought to go home. Don't do that, Sue. Wait till Dad mentions the news. He'll know how to break it to Mum.
All right, Dan. I'll see you tonight.
And remember, not a word at home about me and Hampton.
We return to the Smith home, where Sam is wheeling himself into the kitchen. He watches his wife bending over the oven, but remains silent, unable to find words to explain the result of Dr. Bride's visit.
Why, Sam, I didn't hear you. Surely you didn't let Dr. Bride go without calling me.
Yes, Peg.
Sam, is it bad news?
Don't take it so hard, Peg. Why, I'm so used to this wheelchair.
Oh, no. No, Sam.
Steady, Peg.
Oh, Sam, dear. Isn't there any chance at all?
Peg, I've been trying to tell you for 2 months.
You mean...
I won't walk again. You've a cripple on your hand.
Sam Smith, if I ever hear you talking like that again,
Peg, dear, you're marvelous.
So are you, Sam. If we both try very hard, we can have everything just as it used to be.
It's going to make a difference. The papers stopped my salary. On Friday, they put me on a life pension of £2 a week.
They've been very good to us, haven't they?
Darn it, it's charity.
Don't be proud, dear. Why, you've been with the paper for 20 years. You deserve consideration.
You always find just the right thing to say, don't you? I certainly knew what I was doing when I popped that ring on your finger.
We've been very happy, haven't we, dear? And I do like having you about the house, Sam. You won't worry, will you? I mean, I can manage very well on the money we're going to get, and...
You can't manage on £2 a week.
But I have Sue's money, and Dan can help.
Dan, Sue, it's settling a lot of responsibility on the kids, isn't it?
Will I tell them, or will you, dear?
I'll tell them, Peg. I want to talk to Dan, too. I'm a bit worried about the boy. It's time he settled down in some job.
He will, Sam. Dan's a high-spirited boy. He's like you, you know.
Yes, that's why I'm worried about him.
Oh, dear.
Now, how about that cup of tea?
All right, dear. Dan's late, isn't he?
Don't worry. Dan's never very late when you have a roast.
That's Dan coming in now. Sue, are you satisfied that you're doing the right thing, taking up designing?
Especially for Mr. Wright.
Mum, don't be so old-fashioned. Just because some people talk about Mr. Wright.
Well, he has got a bit of a reputation, you know.
Dad, you too. When your daughter becomes a giddy gadabout, you can start to worry.
Hello. Sorry I'm late.
What kept you, Dan?
Hello, Mum. Dad. I got a regular job today.
Well, you don't say. Well, that's fine, Dan.
What sort of a job, son?
I don't know yet, Mum. Selling and a pretty big commission, too. Got to meet a friend and finalize things in the morning.
Well, that's pretty vague. You're usually full of talk when you get a new job.
Oh, Dan, I was telling Mum and Dad I'm going to start designing. Mr. Wright will give me a job if my work's any good.
Some of those crazy hats you make.
Dan!
Why have you two suddenly decided to work so hard?
Dad, Sue and I, well, we know about,
I saw Dan today. He told me Jim Wilson, who makes up the wages sheet for Dad's paper.
Oh, yes.
Jim Wilson told you that your father has been given a pension.
You don't have to worry about that. Sue and I have made plans. We'll handle the income from now on. Sorry about the bad news, Dad.
Yeah, well, I didn't know how I was going to tell you about it.
But, Dad, that's silly. Oh, we've always stuck together, and things will always be the same. Don't you worry. Dan and I can help, Mum.
That's what I've been telling your father, but he...
Peg, let's enjoy this roast. I've got a pretty good family.
Sue,
Yes, Dan?
I want to talk to you while we're alone. You didn't say anything about my being with Hampton today, did you?
Why, no, Dan. Can't you tell me what it's about?
Forget it, Sue. Just wanted to make sure you hadn't mentioned it.
Of course not.
I thought you might have let it slip out. It's tough on Dad. He's pretending to take it, but... well, it's inside him. Eating into him.
If I convince Mr. Wright that I can design, I'll get a job during the day, and I can do modeling in my spare time. That ought to help. And once Dad sees things going along smoothly, he'll become adjusted to it.
A man takes a long time to adjust himself to the fact that he'll never walk again.
But we mustn't let him realize those things. We've got to keep his mind off them. Later on, perhaps, he'll find some way to make up for his loss.
He was always a pretty good journalist. Maybe he could write at home. Hey, watch out, here he comes.
Is this some sort of a conspiracy?
Oh, no, Dad. I was just telling Dan about my prospects as a designer.
Oh, you're pretty clever, Sue. I'm proud of you.
We're proud of you, too.
Dan, how about sitting down and telling me about this new job of yours?
Oh, Dad, you haven't read the paper.
Here it is, dear. And your pipe. You left them in the kitchen.
I suspect that my family's fussing me. And if I have any more of it,
Oh, you love it.
Oh, there's the door.
I wonder who it can be. Perhaps John Henty to see you, Sam.
If that's John, Jumping Jack won the last race.
I'll go and answer it. If it is Mr. Henty, Dad, your luck's changed.
I hope your horse won, Sam.
There you are. Didn't I say you were fussing me?
It's Brett Hampton.
Both Dan and Sue have so far avoided discussing Dan's new job, his job with Brett Hampton. Now it seems certain the unexpected arrival of Hampton at the Smith home will cause a most unpleasant situation. What is the result of Hampton's call? Listen again for the next episode of To Have and to Hold, written and produced by Rue Pullen in the studios of 3AW.